This is the Reactivity Trends Lab testing the halogens. Our first mixture is going to be with bromine. We are going to mix bromine with our 3 test chemicals. This is phosphate, carbonate, and hydroxide. I'm going to put about 5 to 10 drops of bromine in the test tube. And then I'm going to mix it with about 5 to 10 drops of phosphate and check to see if there is a change. And you can see it looks cloudy. So I would say a reaction happened on that one. So next I'm going to mix bromine with carbonate. So same process here. 5 drops of the bromine. Looks pretty clear to start. Carbonate. 5 drops. Give it a little stir. And that looks pretty clear still. So no reaction there. So then our third test is bromine with the last test chemical. About 5 to 10 drops, or a mini squirt, it works. Mixing that with hydroxide. Stir it up a little bit. That one's also clear. So now we finished bromine. Next we're gonna do fluorine. It's important to note that fluorine looks red to start with. So think about that when we're doing our mixes. We need to see it change from that red, that clearish red color. So I'm going to do 5 to 10 drops of the fluorine. Then I'm going to mix it with my phosphate. Ooh, look at that. You should see that it's cloudy and it's turned purple. The next one, we mix fluorine with carbonate. Not as purple, but definitely a dark pink turning into purple, and it's very cloudy in there as well. And our last one for fluorine is mixing it with hydroxide. 5 to 10 drops of this. And that is a dark blue color. And if I shake it, there's definitely solid in there as well. So I'm going to rinse these out quick. Bring me the steam. Thank you. So it's okay to use the same test tubes for later tests as long as we get them rinsed out really well. Especially the ones that have produced solid, you want to make sure you rinse those out really well because they do get stuck to the bottom of the test tube. But a couple good rinses should be good. You can see there's still some stuff floating in there. That's just after the first rinse. So as long as I rinse it out several times, it's just fine to use for the next one. All right, moving on to iodine, which is I. It starts off as a clear liquid. Same process. 3 drops of iodine, or excuse me, 5 to 10 drops of iodine. And then we'll do 5 to 10 drops of phosphate. Nothing there. Still looks pretty clear. So next is iodine with carbonate. 5 to 10 drops of each. Give it a little mix. Pretty clear as well. Our last iodine test is going to be mixing iodine with hydroxide. And that one looks pretty clear as well. So next we have chlorine. This liquid appears clear to start. Same process here. 5 to 10 drops of chlorine. Five to 10 drops of phosphorus, or phosphate, excuse me. You should be able to see that there is solid floating around in there and it's quite cloudy. So now we go to carbonate. Same kind of thing here as well. I see lots of white solid floating in there. Very cloudy. So here's our last test with chlorine. Now we're mixing it with hydroxide. And this one maybe got a little bit cloudy, but if you look at the hydroxide, it did start a little bit cloudy. And I don't see anything really floating around in there. So for this one, I would say no reaction. So no reaction there. And then finally, we have our unknown. The unknown is one of the previous 4 elements. You need to repeat the same tests to determine the unknown. So I'm going to put 5 to 10 drops of the unknown. And then I will mix it with each of our test chemicals. Phosphate, here's 5 to 10 drops. Ooh, that one turned cloudy. And there's also white solid in there as well. So next test for the unknown. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, between 5 and 10 drops. Now I'm going to test it with the carbonate. Give it a little stir. And it appears mostly clear. So no reaction there. And then finally our last test. 5 to 10 drops of our unknown. And we're going to mix this one with hydroxide. And that one looks pretty clear as well. No solid in that one. Now that you've done all of your tests, compare your results to try to determine what element is the unknown.